Welcome back to the 99.
Hello.
Merry Christmas.
Yep. Happy Friday.
So we did the Halloween, should Christians celebrate Halloween for October? And we wanted to do, should Christians celebrate Christmas for December? So here's some popular questions kind of surrounding Christmas, and Christmas trees and all of that. So we're going to start out by reading in Luke, the birth of Jesus story. So if you guys want to read too, it's Luke chapter 2, and we're going to go 1 through 20, but I think we're going to kind of split it. So
yeah, it's a long one.
Yeah. Okay. So this one says, at that time, the Roman Emperor Augustus decreed that a census should be taken throughout the Roman Empire. This was the first census taken when I almost said Quintus from the show. Oof,
yeah.
That's not who that is. Quirinius?
These names.
Quintus. Oh, jeez. Okay. I need to stop watching that show. I've seen it like 4 times. It's enough.
Yep.
Okay. Was governor over Syria. All returned to their own ancestral towns to register for this census. And because Joseph was a descendant of King David, he had to go to Bethlehem in Judea, David's ancient home. He traveled there from the village of Nazareth in Galilee. He took with him Mary, to whom he was engaged, who was now expecting a child. And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. She gave the birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in, mine says, snuggly strips of cloth.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes. So swaddling cloths is what most people say, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And laid him in a manger because there was no lodging available for them. And this is talking about the shepherds and the angels. It says, that night there were shepherds staying in the fields nearby, guarding their flocks of sheep. Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them. They were terrified, but the angel reassured them. Don't be afraid, he said. I bring you good news that will bring great joy to all people. The Savior, yes, the Messiah, the Lord, has been born today in Bethlehem, the city of David. And you will recognize him by this sign. You will find a baby wrapped in swaddling clothes, in strips of cloth, lying in a manger. Suddenly, go ahead.
Well, that's okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'll just keep going.
So from 13 on.
Yeah.
Suddenly a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace to those on whom his favor rests. When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about. So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was lying in the manger. When they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told to them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. But Mary treasured up all of these things. Oh, my page is stuck.
The suspense.
And pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen, which were just as they had been told. Should we finish that since it's one sentence? It just says, on the 8th day, when it was time to circumcise the child, he was named Jesus, and the name of the angel had given him before he was conceived. I don't know. It's just the ending of
mine has that in a different section.
Really?
Yeah, right here. Weird. Like
that is
it
weird.
Says when he's presented in the temple.
Ah.
So mine's.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
It's like mine's
my.
just down.
It was included in that whole section.
It makes sense to include.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, different
funny.
versions are a little.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it says the same thing.
Yeah.
Just down.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the story.
Yeah, the one we all know.
Obviously, most Christians love Christmas. I do.
Me too.
Although I will say, man, there is an appropriate time for Christmas music. I don't want to be hearing that stuff in November. I don't. don't.
I don't mind it,
I
but
love it while I love it when it's appropriate, but I feel like in November is like, no. December 1st, you're fine.
oh, funny.
My favorite, like maybe we should do that. What's your favorite Christmas song?
Oh,
I love,
gosh.
so my favorite one is Mary Did You Know?
Yeah.
I love that song.
That is
and I will cry like a infant.
Yeah.
That song.
I love that song too.
Especially the Pentatonics version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
I love a lot of their versions, actually.
I love that song.
Yeah. That's got to be one of my top. Amazing. Yeah. I don't know. There's so many I love, but I don't know the names of them. I just know, like, some of them are older ones too that are good, but I just really love the ones that are.
Well, there's another Christmas song that I like that's not necessarily like about Jesus, but it is a Christmas song. Have you heard the song Christmas Shoes? It's a country song.
Oh, no. I don't think so. I don't know.
Sad. It's about this boy that like goes to the store to buy his mom some pretty shoes for Christmas because she's dying.
Oh, yes. And I have heard it.
He wants his mom to look pretty when she meets
Jesus.
It's
yes.
Like, oh, God.
I've heard that song.
Like,
it is really.
I like have to like turn it off sometimes. I'm like, I can't with that.
Yeah. There's some that are just so. But yeah, Mary, that's I love that one too. So it's got to be one of the top 5. Like, I mean, there's a few that I just literally cry when they're on. So
yeah, Mary Did You Know makes me cry.
Yeah,
I can't with that.
Yeah, it's.
So yeah, whoever's watching, maybe say what your favorite song is.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, you know, a lot of, like, most Christians do love Christmas, but some don't, and they think it's a pagan holiday at its root, similar to Halloween, but that is not necessarily the case.
Right.
Let's see. So there's a few points here. So the first one is, how should godly Christians handle the opposing views of others on Christmas? So he always talks about, like, in the essential doctrines, there should be unity. You know, like, we all believe he was raised from the dead. We all believe, you know, like, there's essentials that we need to be unified in. And then there's, in non-essentials, there needs to be liberty. So, like, you can respectfully kind of do whatever you want, is what I took it as.
Right.
And in all things, charity. So being a peacemaker is essential to a holy life.
Yeah.
So in the things that aren't essential, you need to be, like,
just indifferent about, like, just it's not worth getting into fights and arguments over and stuff. It's
it's hard to sometimes because you want to justify whatever. But,
right. Yeah.
So, the second point is, there's people, like, when they, you know, try and make Christmas sound all bad or pagan or whatever, they're like, oh, well, even in the Bible it says, you know, something about Christmas trees. It's like, wait. No. Are Christmas trees rooted in idolatry or paganism? Because some people think so, but they take this verse and just absolutely run for the hills with it.
Yeah.
That is not what this means.
No.
So, this is the passage people use to try and attack Christmas trees. Okay. So this is Jeremiah. Let's see. Oh, do you have it already?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you want me to? Okay. Jeremiah, it's 10, 1-4. Hear what the Lord says to you, people of Israel. This is what the Lord says. Do not learn the ways of the nations or be terrified by signs in the heavens, though the nations are terrified by them. For the practices of the peoples are worthless. They cut a tree out of the forest, and a craftsman shapes it with his chisel. They adorn it with silver and gold, and they fasten it with a hammer and nails, so it will not totter, like a scarecrow in the cucumber field. Their idols cannot speak. They must be carried because they cannot walk. Do not fear them. They cannot do harm, nor can they do any good.
So, this is actually, Tiff always talks about context. You can't just take a verse here and a verse there and, like, come up with your own, like, I'm trying so hard not to
rebuttal for it.
Yeah.
There's a word that rebuttal.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
Taken out of context.
Yeah. So when you read the whole chapter 10, when you read all of Jeremiah 10, it is literally talking about cutting down trees to it says to shape them, and it's that chapter is talking about idols. It's talking about making like statues or making
and bowing down, praying to it, worship it. Yeah.
Like if you're worshiping your Christmas tree, like you got like a screw loose or something, because like we don't worship our tree.
No.
I actually fucking hate this thing. Like
I love the tree, but I don't worship it. I mean, I keep my tree up all year round, and I just decorate it with different holidays. But I'm not. That's crazy to sit there and worship a tree.
This is taken out of context. This verse is taken out of context.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, see, it says cut down a tree.
Yeah.
And it's like, but man, if you read the whole chapter, it's talking about cutting down a tree and making an idol out of it.
Yeah.
And they had idols of gold and silver and bronze and like these statues that like that's what it's talking about. Because people try and say too that the gold and silver is like that's
the
like
tinsel.
The
yeah.
like, no.
It's the only verse they usually that's the one that is what they
Christmas trees aren't even a thing in Israel.
Yeah.
Like, what are they talking about?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're reaching so far.
I know. Like, that's a silly one. It really is.
And that's the only argument they have.
Yeah.
And it's totally invalid.
Yeah.
Totally invalid.
I like what he likened it to, like that's about as that's like saying that if your child was born on Halloween Day, that is exactly what he said. That the Hitler one, like because he liked oranges, to say that those would you could never have orange juice, or to say that child would be just because he was born on Halloween, he's now like part of the pagan ritual. I mean, it's just silly. It's silliness. Yeah, absolutely silliness.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, but some people, that's like they will go to die on the sword with that one. So I don't know.
I mean, like I said, if you're bowing down to it, then
there's other issues.
Different. But, like I don't do that. Like I said, setting up trees and stuff is so stressful. Like the only reason I had it up is because she wouldn't stop asking me.
Well, I'm like you, Katie.
Can I put up the tree? Can I put up the tree? And it's like, dude,
I guess that's where we differ.
Yeah. But trust me, I'm not sitting here worshiping.
No,
absolutely not. I did, however, my most recent ornament that I got up here is a crown. I got that crown because it's for Jesus. That's his crown's up there.
Yeah.
That's what I got it for.
Beautiful. That's funny.
I got a Jesus crown for his birthday. So.
Oh my gosh.
Was Jesus born on December 25th? Now, this is a huge question that people ask.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't think so. There's some reasons to believe that he wasn't born on December 25th, or actually really in December at all, probably, because of the fact that the shepherds were in the fields tending to the flocks, right? And that's not going to happen in the winter. They don't do that in the winter. And so he probably wasn't really born in the winter at all, probably more like fall or spring, like a lot of people think April, because of like around Easter and stuff. He could have been like more like a spring baby. Just like in the middle of winter, like probably not. But that's kind of what that's what we kind of chose as that day. I'm not really sure why, but
I don't know.
But Tiff says there's much historical evidence needed. Or wait. Oh, he actually says there's a strong possibility he could have been born.
That's.
So, I guess we'll see what his argument is.
Well, because he actually does mention the shepherd. So So December was a time
where pagan festivals were celebrated in December.
Mhm.
And that's why people say Christmas is a pagan holiday or rooted in paganism, is because they did have certain festivals that were just in December.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit of a reach too, I feel like, with that tree thing too.
Yeah.
They're just reaching with
There's just a
everything.
whole bunch of it's
There's a lot
so
of reaching. They're gonna pull something if they're not careful.
yeah, it's really odd to me that there's a lot of pagan rituals that coincide with a lot of different things. And it literally is that it just goes around. Like, I didn't know about the days either, which is something he mentions later, but it's like the days of the week and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. Like,
Yeah, me neither.
these things are like, it's just a happenstance, not.
And it's like a lot of it too is just like the intent.
Mhm.
Like, are you doing things to worship a pagan god, or like what are you doing? You know, like a lot of it is just like the intent, I feel like too.
Yeah.
So
It just coincides with those times. They're just not. Yeah.
So it says they celebrated the birth of Jesus in spite of their pagan holidays and festivals in December. It's not rooted in a pagan history. It just happened to coincide with pagan history around the same time.
Yeah.
So like an example, like she just mentioned, you know, like if a baby is born on Halloween Day, that's like saying you can never celebrate your kid's birthday because they're born on Halloween, and that's a pagan witchy holiday.
So.
And it's like, so because it's a demonically rooted day, you can't celebrate your kid's birthday, I guess. I mean, that's the same logic.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
So it's impossible to prove without a doubt Jesus was 100% born on December 25th. Like, we can't prove it he was or he wasn't. There's nothing 100%. Because the day is not in the Bible, which is really interesting. That's like, why is it not? Well, and you think that those shepherds would have written that down.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
And like, that's why I wanted to kind of do the next one, because he talks about this and he says he goes into talking about it more, because now I'm interested, because I didn't know, you know, I was kind of sometimes I have been to churches and they're like, yeah, he was born, you know, it was the day of his birth, and some are not. So
raised in the wrong.
Yeah. Well,
that confused me with a lot of stuff, so
yeah. So that was an interesting one though, because it does say there's much evidence that does support that.
Then, like I said, with the shepherds,
but
I've heard that the shepherds are not out in the fields doing stuff with the sheep in the winter, so it wouldn't have been in the winter. Yeah, like,
but there's nothing to say that it's a fact, so they don't really. Yeah, it's.
I mean, yeah, we just don't know.
I know it's hard, so I'd like to see if he has a video on that. I think it'd be interesting.
I don't think he does.
But well, he said he teaches on it. He said he.
Which thing are you talking about?
If
that's
Jesus,
his day?
yeah.
I haven't seen that video like specifically dedicated to talking about his
he said that he's going to do a teaching on it, so that's why I was wondering.
I haven't seen it, but I'll look.
Yeah, have to look. Have to look.
So point number 4, I mean, we kind of already touched on it a little bit, but it says, is Christmas a holiday with pagan roots? So he kind of gets into some cool stuff here. So the Roman calendar, December 25th, is like winter solstice. And that's preceded by the pagan holiday Saturnalia, which is a festival honoring the Roman deity Saturn. So yeah, and then it says mistletoe was even, because if we're going to talk about trees, we can talk about that too. So it says mistletoe was used by the Celtic Druids in a healing ritual. So some people even go as far as to attack mistletoe, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's just wild.
The lengths people go to.
I was just gonna say
to try and like
the exact thing.
Everything is just crazy.
Yeah.
Like how bored are you? You know.
Yeah, and then like he says, they sometimes you just attack the pastors even at churches for having Christmas trees up, and how dare you? And it's just really like, don't embarrass yourself that way.
It's embarrassing.
It is. Oh my goodness.
Let's see. So all of this does not apply to modern Christians. You know, the symbols of Christmas we have only have the meaning we give them.
Yeah.
They're objects, that are reassigned meaning, basically. Kind of like, so here's some examples. Like Hitler, just say his favorite fruit was oranges. So you can no longer eat or buy oranges, or you're supporting Hitler. Like, that's the same logic you'd have to use. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Pretty crazy.
Things have the meanings you give them.
Yep.
So to me, this tree is just a pretty decoration that my daughter would not stop asking me to put up. Okay? It's a pretty decoration to look at. It's got pretty lights. I can even make the lights flash. It's pretty. Besides the fact that my husband's making me keep it up till January 1st. Besides January, I cannot wait to take this down.
Oh my goodness.
Like, this means nothing to me. It really doesn't. So, like, I'm not bowing down to it, that's what an idol is. An idol is something you hold, like, up here, And, let's see here. We need to be careful of idolatry, that's for sure. Like, actually, just going off of that, something I was convicted of this Christmas was, because I've been telling you, I've been getting convictions left and right about stuff ever since I got baptized again, and I've been, like, deep in Bible study. God's been, like, telling me, like, little things to change or get rid of or whatever. And this year, the feeling that I got when because my parents gave us, like, they split between the four of us siblings, like all of the old school, like 90s Christmas decorations we had as kids. They, like, divvied it up between the four of us.
Yeah.
And so we got a lot of, like, old school Santa things and like just a bunch of old stuff.
Yeah.
And those bears were actually part of it.
Oh yeah.
They say 94. So they're old. But, like, they gave us a bunch of all of these old school decorations. And as I was decorating this year for Christmas, when I went into the basement and I was getting the stuff out, I got this feeling, because I have this statue of Jesus that I kind of want to show you, but I don't want to turn the camera. It's like from up here, like, what do they call that? Like,
it's a bust.
A bust of Jesus that my dad's work partner made, because he's a sculptor. But anyways, so I have this bust of Jesus in my house.
Yeah.
And as I was, too. It's really heavy too.
Oh,
it's like really heavy. But so anyways, as I was getting this stuff out to decorate with all of my stuff, I got this feeling come over me, which was the Spirit, I'm pretty sure, telling me, because, like, I was wrestling with the fact of, like, well, should I put Santa Claus stuff up, this year? And I got this feeling that said, like, don't have more of something else than there is of me in the house, right? So I have one Jesus statue, and there was, like, 12 Santa things. And it's like, so don't put all the Santa stuff out, right?
Yeah.
So I just put, like, a little snow globe with Santa in it, and that's it. Like, the rest of it is, like, nutcrackers and bears and snowman. But, like, I'm trying to keep the focus centered on Jesus and not Santa, because I actually did.
I mean, I think it's okay to, like, we're not telling you not to have the Santa. If you want to do it, do it. But, because I have a Santa, but I'm not,
that shouldn't be the
Jesus,
focus.
it's where your focus is at, and your focus should be on the reason for the season, which is Jesus. So
I got a new nativity set.
Yeah.
And I took away all of the Santas.
I love the nativities.
Like, I'm just trying to focus on that.
Yeah.
And actually, I told my 4-year-old this year, which I was a little worried that she would get a little sad, but I told her in a nice, fun way that he's pretend and all this stuff. Because, like, I had a lot of people telling me, like, well, that's technically lying to her if you're telling her that he's real. And, like, okay, well, like, I don't want to lie to her, but, like, so I did tell her, which thankfully she wasn't sad about it. She was a little worried, like, well, am I still going to get presents? It's like, yes, I already have them. I hid them from you. They're downstairs, but it's like, and then she had the question of, like, Well, I saw him because we actually went to Fairbanks,
Yeah.
the Santa Claus house that's
Mhm.
in Fairbanks, the North Pole, and she actually saw him for real.
Mhm.
And so she was confused, and I was like, well, that's just somebody's grandpa in a costume. He does things fun for kids so they can be happy, you know.
Mhm.
And you know, so she's not bummed out about it, and she still gets presents. I tell her it's Jesus' birthday and we're celebrating his birthday, and she's fine with it. Like, she's not
Yeah.
bent out of shape about it, you know.
Yeah.
But something interesting that I did find out about Santa, maybe you can Google it too, is and this is kind of the part that creeped me out, which, you know, made me glad that I did tell her that he's like pretend or whatever. Like, the origination of him, like Saint Nick and whatever, like the actual person.
Oh, he was a bishop.
But he was like a giving person, right? Like, that's where it
Saint
comes
Nicholas.
from. But even before him, this lady, Kayla Gibbard or something. She has the ministry on Facebook. Have you seen her stuff?
I don't.
She travels and does baptisms and stuff.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think I know who she is.
So she talks about she goes really deep into stuff too, like kind of like the revelation stuff that we do, like the deep stuff. And she looks at where Santa Claus originally came from. It's not Saint Nick. It's the Norse god Odin. Okay. So the Norwegian, which is crazy because my family's like Norwegian and Swedish, and I did not know this. But the original Santa is based off of the Norse god Odin. And let's see. Here you go. Leave it right here. Maybe type in Odin or something on the top because they're related.
But how does she know it originated from Odin?
Well, I mean, you can read it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. But then there's these other ones that say they originate from Saint Nicholas. So who are we to believe?
Well, this came first. It's older, you know.
See, I don't believe everything when I. I don't know. This one says.
Because look, I mean, like he even looks like him.
Yeah, but that says no. Santa is not inspired by Odin. So see, I don't know. Here's this. That's why I don't believe everything that. No matter what it is, I don't believe everything I read. I kind of do some other researching.
It's definitely worth looking into though, because trust me.
Yeah, because this one says the opposite.
Creepy.
But
well, click on something that says it's for it.
See,
this actually is Odin. There. Click on that. Is Santa actually based on Odin? Because if you look up pictures, like he actually here. Can I show this? Or you can turn it maybe. Remember, it's turn it first.
Turn it?
Yeah, remember, because it wasn't loading when you would.
What?
Remember when we were doing it at the table? It wasn't showing unless we turned it sideways.
It's right there.
I mean, focusing on the phone.
Oh, remember? I see what you're saying. So yeah, maybe how we were.
So this is Santa Claus was based on Odin, is what it says, and Christmas and Yule. So like the Yuletide carols and all that stuff. Let's see. So the first thing they're saying is like, we are not saying that Odin is Santa or that Santa is Odin. We are also not denying the obvious primary influence of Saint Nicholas, who gave to the poor during the 3rd century. However, Saint Nicholas never claimed to have gift-making elves or the ability to fly through the sky, whereas Odin did fly through the sky. Let's see. I don't know
who she is. Maybe
it's really interesting when you look at like the fact that like
she say where she got that, like, because everything here is not saying that.
I mean, it just says it's like
there's the Norse.
The Norse mythology speaks of Norse gods flying through the sky on animal-drawn sleighs. How Odin is flying. He has an 8-legged horse called Sleipnir, who was known for having a sleigh, and Odin was known for giving away gifts as well. So I don't know. It's definitely
I'm not sure where she came from. Like I know I would have to have seen, because I'm sure she must. I'm just saying it's cite, but
it's interesting stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean, the guy even looks like him. I don't know. I was raised with Santa. I don't feel like whatever about it, but I'm just saying, like, when I see that stuff, it's like, well, I mean, if that Norse god actually did do that, then I mean, essentially, like when we have Santas out, like I have one, you know, it's like that the deep root, like, is that really based on Odin? And then like he's like a Norse god, so would that be like a false god? You know? I don't know. It's just, it just makes you think, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else was there?
Yeah.
Oh, so here's another thing too. Most Christians don't know the days of the week are even rooted in pagan practices.
That's literally what I was saying. I didn't know that.
Didn't even know that.
I know. I mean, especially because if God made the day, He's created everything. How in the heck? Like, I know. I never thought. Where did these names come from? But I mean, like, that's craziness.
I feel like we kind of like, as a society, like we give them names, you know, because like I don't think, did God actually come up with the names?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he come up with those names?
I know, but why would a pagan come up? Like, I don't know, how would that even happen? I'm so confused.
But so this says, that even the days of the week are rooted in pagan practices. Every day of the week is tied to a pagan deity. So
that is so crazy.
Can you look
it's
that
wild.
Up, like kind of like the days of the week, pagan deities. And see like who they're, because like I remember him saying that like each day of the week like literally aligns with a specific pagan god. Like all the days of the week like mean something. So like we're not allowed to have like,
that's crazy,
calendars anymore. You know, I mean, like if you really want to go by their logic, you can just rip apart everything.
I know.
You know, it's crazy. Does it say what the 7
weekday names? Maybe that one.
Maybe pagan origins of English weekly. That's a tongue twister. I can't even say that.
I know.
Pagan origins of English weekday names. Jeez.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Let's see. Monday stems from the word moon,
which corresponds with the Latin term for this day.
Dies lunae. Oh, but doesn't say anything about. Well, that's interesting. Unless. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Because like Thor's day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Thor was a son of Odin and Germanic god of thunder. Oh my gosh. But like Freitag
is Friday in German.
Saxon Saturnisdag.
Oh yeah, like isn't this one about like Saturn?
Yeah, Roman god and Saturn for Saturday, Saxon, the Germanic deity. But that of the Roman god Saturn. Oh gosh. Interesting. Many other European languages. Under the influence of Christianity, the name of Saturday comes from the Hebrew word Shabbat. Whoa. In Slavic yeah. Well,
that's weird because
I've never looked into any of these days. So I mean, it never really dawned on me to research. Why do we have the name?
Well, why would you? That's
I know.
A dumb question.
I know.
Why is there Saturday?
Yeah.
Like, geez, I don't
Who named it? Wow. Yeah. This one is the easiest. Says
what we're saying is like there's a lot of things that are technically rooted in paganism, but I mean, Christmas isn't one of them.
Yeah.
And neither is the Christmas tree, for anybody asking. There's no biblical reason to not celebrate Christmas.
Right.
There's nothing that says to not do it. We just need to keep it centered around Jesus's birth. Like I said, you know, we need to not make the focus about Santa.
Exactly.
Make the focus about.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, and it seems obvious if you're
have
Christian.
Fun and give gifts.
Yeah.
And, like, we're not saying don't do that. Like,
yeah.
You know, be giving. That's good. You know, but we need to make sure. Like, my daughter knows that Christmas is Jesus's birthday. You know, she's been saying that, and it's like. But I mean, she's 4, so she's excited about presents too.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like, you know, I tried to kind of remove Santa from it a little, because it was just like, I did realize that it was like a bit much, because when you see that I had like 12 Santa decorations
Oh,
and
yeah.
one nativity and one Jesus, I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that
And he had a
doesn't
very
look
strict, Tiff had a very strict upbringing, he said.
Mhm.
Very,
Mhm.
not only just,
Wasn't his dad like a pastor and all
yeah,
that stuff
and his
too?
mom, he
And
said, yeah.
yeah.
And then all his brothers are.
And they still celebrated and all that stuff too. And their parents, his parents didn't let them do
I even
anything
remember
bad.
his brothers' names. Ted, Terry, Tiff, and what's the other one? Timmy?
I don't know. But
I think
Ted
that's what it is.
actually, I thought my friend said that he actually sometimes talks at King's Chapel down here.
Wow.
I'm not sure
Because
though.
they had no, like, I guess his mom didn't allow any secular stuff in their house.
But they still had a tree.
Yep, they had a, yeah. So for somebody so strict, and and they made it, like he said, how they just made it a real beautiful thing. So
But I actually think,
Yeah,
didn't he
I thought
too
that was
say
neat.
though that like she made sure they focused on
yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus and why
like that was the
the,
focus.
the whole reason of it. But they certainly, I just thought it was neat that he said they did give a lot of, they they enjoyed the tree and made it special. So I thought that was nice.
Just keep in mind about
Yeah.
the tree though. That verse is talking about, if you read the whole chapter,
Yeah.
all of Jeremiah 10.
So no, don't worship your tree, don't worship Santa, don't worship the present giving, don't worship, just worship God. He's the only one we need to worship.
Yeah. So
Focus on your faith. Yeah.
I mean, people can get carried away with, maybe that's why God was telling me, like, don't put a bunch of Santas out, because, like, maybe that was starting to be, like, a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, we just kind of, like, got to check ourselves and
Yep.
make sure our motives are still where they should be.
Yeah.
Because Santa can still, like, kind of like I was telling my daughter, like, he's pretend, kind of like mermaids and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, she can still think of him as like a fun pretend thing, but she knows that like he's not going to burst into our house in the middle of the night and put stuff under the tree.
Right.
She knows that they're from us.
Yeah.
And I told her that, it's because God makes sure that Daddy has a job so he can give us money to actually buy stuff for you. So like I'm kind of trying to get out of some older habits that maybe really probably aren't so great.
Like not having it to be, don't get all involved in which we did as a kid too, people doing, there's a naughty list, a good list, that's, that's something they say, Santa has a list and don't. But I mean, if that's what you were brought up as, it's understandable that we would so it's kind of got to make that effort to.
I just had like a fun idea of something we can just say really fast.
What's that?
So, what is like one of the biggest memories from Christmas that you have growing up? Like one that was like your parents got you something that was just so crazy, or like the way they presented it to you was so fun? Because like I have one that was like when I was probably like 10 or something that I just will not forget because it was like the coolest thing ever. Do you have something like that?
I don't have one like that. I just have one that was actually, it was kind of like the only big thing I asked for. And I went through all these and I didn't get it. And it was a joke because then they brought it in. So there's that.
What was
like
it?
a bike.
Oh, okay. Dude, mine was a bike too.
It's a bicycle, and I was so upset, but I didn't want to, didn't want to be upset because I wanted to be thankful for everything that I still got.
Yeah.
But I was so sad, and they could tell when I was like so sad. Still, they brought in the bike.
That's crazy. So,
and I was like not 8 or 9.
Wow. So I have two big main ones. My first one is a bike.
Is it?
That's so crazy because
of course it is.
That's the way my dad did it. So this was when we lived in Arizona. We had 20 acres of Sonoran desert. And so like me and my 2 younger brothers, I have a younger sister too, but me and my 2 younger brothers, we all got, I mean, like, we got like a few other small things, but we all got this giant, huge box, like the size of like a fridge, right? I mean, that's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
Anyways. It was this huge box. And all of us had the exact same size box. And so we were like, my mom and dad like wanted us to like race to open them, right? So like the three of us were racing, opening this present. And when we opened the box, it was empty. And we're like, what is this? Like, what am I missing here?
Like,
And my dad's like, come outside. So we went outside and all of us had a new bike. But it wasn't in the box. It was like, it was the coolest thing because we opened up this box and it was empty.
Yeah. So it was kind of similar. You're sad at first, but then you were like,
but the bike is outside.
Yeah.
And then, so that was a major one that like, I won't forget that because of like the fact that like the box was empty.
Yeah.
That's like such a memory of like having like an empty box and then going outside and being like, there's like two bikes, you know?
Yeah.
And then the second one was actually super, super sentimental, actually. So I have 3 younger siblings. I have an older half sister too, but but I was raised with my 3 younger siblings. So my dad, I am very big on taking pictures and all that stuff. I take pictures of everything. And people always complain and they hate it. But then like when we look back later, they're like happy that I took it.
Yeah.
Like, so leave me alone when I take my pictures. So
take the pictures.
So my dad he loves taking pictures too. And he's a very good photographer actually. And 1 year for Christmas, he got like all of us were crying because of what he got. He spent a lot of time. He got each of us like one of those things called like a My Book. It's like it's like a big drive. Like it's like a terabyte of
I think I remember that
space. And my dad put every single picture from the time him and my mom got married.
Wow.
Until like current.
Wow.
There was millions of photos on there.
Wow.
And he gave all of us one of those big terabyte things, which only half of it is full.
Right.
And
terabytes a lot.
The way that he gave it to us and what he said made us just cry. Because he was crying too. But he like handed us this thing and he's like, here's your life. And he gave us this thing with all the pictures and we're just like, oh my gosh. You know, like that was such a cool that was such a cool present.
That really is
he gave us all obviously our own. And then he said there's plenty of space to put your guys' lives on there too now.
Yeah.
You know? I made sure one of the things I put on there was like my grandma's funeral. I make sure I didn't lose that.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't added anything for my kids. I probably should. It's just I have to take it over to their house to hook it all up and whatever. Because it's kind of like an ancient setup.
Yeah, that's neat though.
But yeah, that was a crazy present, man.
Wow.
But
that is really neat though. It's a great idea. I love stuff like that. I like the homemade gifts. I like the special the things like that, you know, heartwarming gifts. I'd rather have that stuff than anything new or I don't know.
Your thing comes in on Wednesday. So I have to make sure I see you next week.
Aw. Sweet.
It just came in a pack of 2. So I got one for me and then there's no reason to have 2, so you can just have the other one.
Aw, thank you. That's so sweet.
So I don't know if you wanted to add anything Christmassy or you think that's good?
I don't know. I think we've I don't know. It's been a fun Christmas. Interesting. Fast. It's going by fast. Weird. I really wish that the days would stop going by so fast. I can't believe it's already the 13th.
I know, but it's so weird. Okay, so we're in Alaska, right? Usually we have like feet of snow right now. We had like some heat wave whip through here.
Yeah.
And all the snow's gone. Like all of it.
Yeah, it's like, only on the mountains.
Happening? But even then, it's like halfway.
Yeah, it looks like May, or you know, it's like what month are we in? Like it's not
so weird. like part of me is glad that it's like not dangerous.
And I don't like it.
Well, like, because for me, it's like driving on the ice with kids.
Yeah, no, I don't like ice or anything. I like the white, dry, white, fluffy snow. It's the best. But
yeah, I just hope that it snows a little bit for Christmas. But right now, our ground is brown.
Yeah, it's ugly. It's not. It's not the beautiful Alaska winter we're seeing.
It's so weird. Like, what is happening?
Even when it's even when it gets cold and the snow's all out, like at least we have really pretty sunny days. The sun's always out when it's like the really cold days, and I love that. There's nothing more beautiful than those colors in the sky, the sun out, and the white snow everywhere. I love it. And I'm looking around going, that is not what we have right now. Something's happening. It's not okay. Yeah.
Weird.
I know.
Yeah, I wonder why it's just so warm right now.
I don't know. But
it was like literally like
we broke records. Something. Yeah.
It was like 40. It's like,
we broke a 10-year record from what I heard on the news when I was watching it. On the as far as the
like
temp
usually around this time, it's like probably like 15 below or something usually right now.
And we would have had a foot of snow at least by now. Yeah. So
well, we did, and it all melted.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I know. I was saying, I think I said Alaska's having a midlife crisis or going through menopause. Yeah. It's great. That's what I seriously feel like. We are almost
having a heat flash right now.
Golly.
They call it.
Yeah, it's weird, guys. Like even so many lower 48 states have been colder than us and have snow. Tennessee had some. Well, I know they get cold up in the mountains, especially up Appalachian. But
you can feel that it's getting colder today.
Yeah,
you can see your breath today.
Well, we're finally. I seen that Fairbanks had some pretty severe weather, and it's heading this. We've got a couple snow forecast, but I'm not going to hold my breath at this point.
Maybe for Christmas, God, some snow.
Yeah. Says in Saturday we should expect some snow tomorrow. We'll see. I looked at it and I said I'll believe it when I see it because it keeps missing us. Or when it did get us, it didn't even fall. We didn't even get what we were predicted to get. So, yeah, it's weird. In the 10 years I've been here, I don't remember a December like this. And it probably is true because it said we broke a 10-year record. So I probably missed.
Well, I've been back up here for 20 years and because we got back up here in 2005.
You remember a warm December before at all?
Well, there's been times where we've had like patchy snow.
Yeah.
But I don't think really quite like 40 degrees like what it was.
And it is the rain. It's weird. It's the rain, the wind, the then it snowed and then it was windy and then it was rainy and then it froze and it's like, what is happening? Like it's all over the place, chaotic.
It is.
And so many accidents, which is I mean, there's one on the road I live off of. There's one or two every day. I'm not even joking.
Oh, like right at the intersection?
Yeah, KGB and that. Always accidents on our one road. But, gosh, we had to just, I don't know. Yeah, so it's a weird one for us at Christmas right now.
To me, though, this is like a refreshing reprieve.
It is kind of nice.
The last 2 years have been violent.
Yeah.
It's been like
record-breaking snow fall, actually.
Like, 15 feet or whatever. It's like, stop, and like 20, 30 below, hurricane force winds, like whipping the sides off of buildings. Yeah. It's like, dude, so this kind of more mild winter is actually kind of a nice break, in my opinion.
And it's just the I like dry snow versus wet snow because you get colder in the wet snow, but obviously because you get wet. But that's one thing I like about Alaska in the winters is just because usually it's a dry snow and it's so much more. You're able to be out in it as long as it's not 40 below, but at least it's not getting everything wet and then you're also in the snow. So anyway, a lot of snow talk, but it's Christmas and we don't have any now, or almost Christmas and we don't have any.
So weird. I think we'll get some for Christmas.
I'm praying. Just real snow, no ice, no rain, just, I don't know.
You're like sad.
I know. I'm sad. Yeah.
I don't know.
I do feel for everybody though that I am not out in it every single day. I'm not going to work every single day and driving. Especially from here to Anchorage. It's quite I mean, it's only 45 minutes, but that drive can be tough. Yeah.
Because people forget how to drive in the winter too.
Mm-hmm. And things fall off. And then when things fall off, you can't, off of vehicles some people don't tie their stuff down right.
I mean, I have, even when because everybody knows when you drive on the ice, you're supposed to tap on your brakes. You're not supposed to slam on because you'll slide, right? Yeah. But there's been times where I've stopped way ahead of time, probably 20 feet back, tapped on my brakes, and I still slide through a stoplight. I have slid through a stoplight, and there was a cop behind me, but the cop didn't come after me because he saw me trying to stop, and he's like, "Well, she's not stopping." Yeah, but yeah, it can be scary, especially because I slid through an intersection, which is that could have been bad.
That's why.
But luckily, in the winter, people kind of wait to see if you're gonna stop or not. I feel like people wait at the stoplight a little bit extra to see if people are gonna slide through, which is nice. Yeah. People actually use their heads.
I actually downshift now because it's so much easier. Instead of tapping on the brakes, it when you downshift up into stopping or whatever, it's so much better. It's nice and easy. I just have gotten into the habit of doing that, and I've definitely noticed a huge I don't slide anywhere by doing that. It works really good. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was saying earlier, I like standard vehicles are actually good when you can. So I even use it in my automatic and downshift in the winter. It does.
Well, you were saying you don't even have winter tires on.
No, I just have
crazy.
Yeah. I used to have studded tires on or get some winter tires, but I had some brand new tires put on 2 years ago. And last year was the first winter I ran around in them, didn't change them over or switch over. And I was shocked and amazed at how well my car did. No sliding.
Well, new, no. And the tread is deep. It's
and
fine,
the tire, for whatever reason, stays warm. When you go out to it, it's not an ice cold tire. So it's not I don't know what's up with that. They're not even
don't they make tires different? Not out of different material, they're all rubber. But I mean, don't they make winter and summer tires different?
Yeah, they're supposed to be a little bit, but I literally don't even have winter. So it's interesting. I don't know. It's worked, and I didn't put them on this year or this winter either. So, and we've had so much ice on the roads. It's been slick. So, and I haven't noticed any fishtailing or slipping, even with my second winter on the.
And when you're sliding through stop signs and stuff or stoplights, that is scary. Mm-hmm. You just literally have to be like, Jesus, take the wheel. Because yeah.
Sorry, see, we get a whole big taste of winter in Alaska, an odd time.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
so weird because usually our winters last from October to March, April.
Yeah, even
probably April.
Even May. I've seen it. I don't know.
They're long, that's for sure.
Because we even have snow on our mountains through July sometimes. It's crazy.
Maybe at the very, very, very top.
It is wild.
Yeah. So I'm amazed my son's still asleep. So I feel like I'm pushing my luck here.
Aw, yeah.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And till next Friday.
Stay blessed.